Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining me again. Is there anybody else here who was a fan of Enid Blyton when they were younger? I used to love Enid Blyton. Near the top of the list were the famous 5 books. I used to play it with a few friends, and it may not surprise you to discover that I always wanted to be George. Also near the top of my list were the Magic Wishing Chair and the Enchanted Wood books, probably particularly the Enchanted Wood, because if you've ever read it, you'll know what I mean here. I loved the idea of the slide that went round and round inside the tree to get you back to the bottom again. But at the top of my Enid Blyton list were the Nature Lovers books. Fewer people seem to remember these, so let me know if you loved them too. I did love those books, and I still have them. They are about 3 children who live next door to a writer called Mr. Meredith. They kind of adopt him and decide to call him Uncle Merry. But they really meet when one January afternoon, the 3 children are having an argument because they're fed up with being inside. You may recognize this phenomena. And Mr. Meredith invites them to come out for a walk with him. Now, it's January when this story starts, and particularly the 2 older children are really skeptical. They don't think that there's going to be anything interesting to be found outside in January. But of course, they find lots and lots of things. Anyway, I decided this afternoon that I was going for an Uncle Merry walk. I had intended to go across the fields to the woods, but in the end, I got distracted and didn't get anything like that far. My first distraction was the fact that when I stopped thinking about other things and just concentrated on what was around me, my garden suddenly seemed to be very noisy. The birds seemed to think it might be spring. Have you noticed that too? So I went back in to get a pair of binoculars so I could spot what was making what noise, and I watched great tits shouting at each other. I'm not sure whether they were calling to each other or marking territory. I saw the long-tailed tits having a chat and the blue tits doing the same but with a slightly different voice. I heard coal tits but did not see them, and I saw blackbirds, a thrush which I think was a song thrush, but it can be difficult to tell them apart at a distance, lots of rooks, and I heard the raven. I also saw a collared dove and 2 gulls, I'm not sure what sort, and that was just the birds. But having been distracted by the birds, I decided there might be mileage in simply doing a very slow walk of my garden. The snowdrops are flowering. There are lots of them, several different sorts, and that is always something that makes me smile. But they were not the only flower. There is the winter sweet that I mentioned the other day. There's a viburnum. There is a mahonia, which also smells beautiful. These are meant to be flowering at this time of year. There are also quite a few primroses, which to my mind are a little bit early, but they obviously don't know that because they are undoubtedly flowering. There is winter flowering jasmine and winter flowering heather, and there's still a lot of bright red from the rose hips and the holly berries, although some of those have been eaten by the birds. There are also shapes that show up really well. Gorgeous spiky leaves of things like melianthus and the globe artichoke, and little bits of pure natural magic, tiny drips of water suspended from leaves and ends of branches, reflecting the colours of the sky or whatever's around them. Just amazing. So as it started to get dark, I realised I had been wandering around my garden for some considerable time, and I decided to wander back in and put the kettle on. And having a quick look at the news on my computer, I saw that there are pictures of the Northern Lights, which were seen from northern Scotland last night. And a bit of me was thinking, oh, wow, I wish I'd seen that because they are really amazing. And then I thought about all the magical and amazing things that I'd seen in my garden this afternoon, and about the sunset that I watched last night. And I realised that I have no need whatsoever to wish for anything more amazing than what I already have. So if you go for a walk, even just one around your garden, have a really careful look and see what God-given natural magic you can find. And let me know if you'd like to. I'm going to finish off with a prayer, and as ever, if you'd like to make it yours, feel free to stick an amen in the comments. Creator God, thank you for the simple magic of the snowdrop or a shiny drop of rain. Help us to notice the small things and to appreciate what we have. Amen. Thank you for joining me. See you again tomorrow, I hope. Bye for now.